Now to a look at what's been making headlines on the Rural News Desk this week. And first up, the government's backing a new tool to help reduce emissions. Startup company Armour of Waio is developing a wearable smart device for cows that aims to recycle nitrogen from their urine and spread it evenly around the paddock to make the most of the nutrients. While the company is hush-hush around further details at this early stage, founder Roger Johnson says it's about unlocking the nitrogen potential from livestock.
Every farm that has livestock grazing around the world has a massive nitrogen resource. But at the moment, that nitrogen is only causing problems. So it's a huge resource and it's being applied to 4% of the paddock. Once you take that nitrogen, apply it across the whole paddock, it gives it to the grass in an amount that it can utilise all of it to grow. And once the grass uses it all up to grow, there's not much left to leach or emit as nitrous oxide.
The Ministry for Primary Industries has backed the prototype device that was trialled on Ngāi Tahu farming sites and studied by ag-research scientists. Modelling shows the tool could reduce nitrous oxide emissions by up to 95% and nitrate leaching by up to 93%. It's just received a $1.2 million boost from the government industry partnership AgriZero to pilot technology on more farms next year.
Speaking of cows, hopes of a $10 a kilo milk payout are under pressure. That's after prices at the global dairy trade auction dropped for a sixth consecutive run, with average prices down 2.4% to $3,768 a tonne. The important whole milk powder price, which influences farmer payout, fell 2.7% to $3,503 a tonne. Rabobank dairy analyst Emma Higgins says the drop confirms that markets are spooked by the current volume of milk supply. She says farmers will now be looking to Fonterra in coming weeks to watch what happens to the payout price.
Meanwhile, New Zealand's red meat industry is proving resilient, with export earnings climbing even as US tariffs threaten trade. The Meat Industry Association says red meat exports hit more than $700 million in September, up nearly a third on last year. Chief Executive Surma Karapiva says beef exports to North America dipped, but that was offset by growing demand from Asia and the UK. Sheep meat exports surged 42% to just over $250 million, driven by higher returns from the EU, China and the US.
There's new research which shows young people are eating more meat as older generations cut back. A survey of 1,500 New Zealanders run by Rabobank and Kiwi Harvest found the number who plan to reduce meat consumption is falling. Blake Holgate from Rabobank says fewer baby boomers are now saying they plan to cut back on meat, 22% from 30% previously. Almost a quarter of Gen Z now say they plan to eat more of the red stuff.
The number of Kiwis saying they plan to reduce red meat consumption has dropped for 3 consecutive surveys. And interestingly, when we delve into it, it's actually the younger generation, the Generation Z, that are showing they're actually looking to, over time, increase red meat consumption.
Blake Holgate says the change is likely being driven by a focus on the importance of protein.
To another source of protein, Akaroa king salmon has been recognised by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organisation. It was one of 46 organisations recognised, winning a Global Technical Recognition Award for its leadership in sustainable aquatic food systems. The Canterbury-based salmon farming business is a 100% New Zealand-owned partnership that includes Onuku Ruranga, Ngāti Porou and the Bates family. Here's Nick Mavromatis of Akaroa King Salmon.
With our feed supplier Biomar, we're working on what they call the Blue Impact Journey, focusing on how we can improve 3 key markers that we measure. One is our carbon footprint, the other is the use of circular regenerative ingredients, and the third part is the impact on wild fish stocks. So we're trying to cut that down by using things like algae oil, using things like potato protein. The world last year, they've surpassed now more than 50% of the world's supply of seafood as aquaculture. We think there's an amazing future for it, particularly in New Zealand, but you've got to do it in the right way.
Zespri has sent off its final charter shipment of kiwi fruit for the season. The Fedor ship, carrying more than 5,000 tonnes of green kiwi fruit, will be its 60th charter vessel of the season and is expected to arrive in Tokyo mid-next month. Chief Executive Jason Tabrake says this year's crop of 215 million trays of more than 770,000 tonnes of kiwi will be its largest yet. heading to 50 markets.
And just lastly, Christmas tree farmers are gearing up for their busiest time of year. Come November 24th, Pine Valley in New Plymouth will be open every day helping families pick their tree. The owner of the 1 acre farm, Malcolm Hine, says there's more that goes into Christmas trees than people realise.
It's been pretty difficult actually because of the rain that we've had and trying to get our trees up to scratch to a certain extent, but they're starting to look a lot better now. Presently pruning them. We are gearing up for the 24th of November, which is our opening day. There's a lot of pre-season work that goes in, and it's also 24/7 when you're selling them. Lots of phone calls after hours. Like we've already had phone calls. We've had a half a dozen phone calls for people wanting to reserve their tree.
And that's your rural news for this week.